Today, we're reviewing one of the most interesting releases of this year, and for some, it might actually be the true GOAT of the trails. But for others, the Speedgoat 6 from Hoka will be something for the garbage truck to pick up. To get an understanding of what I'm about to talk about, I'll give you the story of when the first iteration of the insanely popular Hoka Speedgoat was released. We know it as the beginning of high-cushioned trail running, even though there were similar high-cushioned models who came before it, such as the C.M.E.V.A from Hoka. But even if the Speedgoat doesn't actually classify as the original model in this category, it was still, by far, the most impactful to the running world. But what made the Speedgoat stand out? Well, the first version of the Speedgoat didn't actually break the market, but who can blame the runners? It's hard to sell a whole new concept to such a niche group of people, a more elevated midsole to runners that are in desperate need of stability and ground contact. It didn't look appealing to me at first, that's for sure, but then version 2 came out, and with a better fit and with a more secure personality, and I am sure you know how the story goes from there. The word about this new type of footwear spread like the flu to every trail running enthusiast, and soon enough the Speedgoat received GOAT status amongst many. The Speedgoat has developed a lot since then. When version 4 and the Evo version came out, the Speedgoat was no longer the new kid on the block, but one of the most respected chads in the area. Now, we had cult-like fans that worship this soft and bouncy, almost new mattress-like feel underfoot. But when the version 5 started to flood the trails, the Hoka fanboys and girls soon turned to haters of the Speedgoat 5 at least. Some were unfazed, but many trail runners found that the materials and build quality didn't live up to the hype anymore. The shoe's magic started to fade after only a couple of miles, the upper got loose, and the midsole became dull. Yes, I know what you're thinking. Is he ever going to talk about the Speedgoat 6? Of course, but in order to understand the changes, it's important to know what caused them. But before I reveal my judgment of the Speedgoat 6, let's start by giving you the specs. They have a snug fit. If anything, I recommend sizing up a half size to get an accurate fit. I would describe the toe box width is medium to narrow. It weighs in at 9.4 ounces or 266 grams for a size men's US 9. The Speedgoat 6 measures to 40 millimeters of stack at the heel and 35 millimeters of stack height under the forefoot, giving an offset or drop of 5 millimeters. This is a neutral shoe, meaning no extra lateral support. The midsole consists of C.M.E.V.A foam. And finally, the 6th version uses a Vibram Mega Grip with 5mm traction lugs on the outsole. Alright, so what has changed since last year's disaster? Well, I can say this. Hoka certainly made an effort, realizing the complaints of their customers and giving a makeover to the upper and midsole. They remade the upper using a matrix-like mesh instead of the stretchy one from version 5 to ensure a snug fit that doesn't wear out or loosen over time. I feel that this material hugs the foot more closely, enhancing the shoe's overall fit and feel. However, this also means that the shoe wears slightly narrower, especially if you have wider feet or prefer thicker socks. The tongue is still short, but extra padding has been added for extra comfort. The woven upper of the Speedgoat 6 does not breathe as well as the Speedgoat 5. I found no real issue. I think the breathability is absolutely fine if you wear the right kind of socks. Sure, I didn't test it in the hottest of temperatures, so you might want to account for that before making your decision. The Speedgoat still uses a C.M.E.V.A compression molded EVA foam. The first feel, or step-in feel, was more or less the same. However, as I put miles on the Hoka Speedgoat 6, I noticed that the broken-in foam holds up much better than before. It's positively protective and is slightly firmer than the previous iteration. Overall, this version of the Speedgoat will at least last longer than the previous one, while the Speedgoat 6 continues to use Vibram's Mega Grip with 5mm traction lugs for excellent grip. There has been a minor adjustment in the formation of the lugs to optimize traction further. This change is inspired by the hoof of a goat, aiming to improve grip, especially on steep ascents and descents. Although I haven't noticed the change underfoot, it still performs very well, both from a traction and durability point of view. The Speedgoat 6 is slightly lighter than the Speedgoat 5, which surprised me. I thought the changes and improvements in durability would actually increase the weight if anything, but that was not the case. If you have learned anything new so far, it only costs $100 to subscribe to our channel. I'm just kidding. You can subscribe to our channel and be a part of our running community here on YouTube, and it won't cost you a single penny. To get weekly updates from exciting new running gear to life-changing tips to make running easier and much more enjoyable every single time. So, for the question that you've been waiting for, how does the Speedgoat 6 from Hoka actually feel and perform? Is it worth your money or not? What are the pros and cons? As mentioned earlier, the new midsole in the Hoka Speedgoat 6 is pretty sweet. They've switched it up to this new foam, which is tougher and bouncier than before. So what does that mean mean for us? Well, it means the shoe's gonna last longer and feel more responsive when we're out on the trails. Even though it's got a bit less cushioning, it still feels solid and protective underfoot, which is great for those long runs. Plus, they've made it lighter, so you'll feel like you're flying down the trail. Overall, it's a win-win for durability and performance. There are a couple of things to keep in mind though. While the new C.M.E.V.A foam is more durable and responsive, some folks might find it slightly firmer than what they're used to with Hoka shoes. So if you're expecting that plush sink into it feeling, it might not be quite as soft as you'd like. But overall, those are pretty minor drawbacks compared to the benefits you get from the improved durability and responsiveness. And for me, I actually prefer the feeling of a firmer midsole like you get from a road runner like the Cloud Monster from On, compared to a too soft mattress feeling New Balance More. The upper on the Hoka Speedgoat 6 has some pretty cool features. First off, they've switched to a woven material that's engineered to be more durable and less likely to stretch out over time. This means you're getting a snugger fit that won't loosen up as you rack up the miles. Plus, it's designed to manage moisture well, so your feet stay cool and dry even on longer runs. Another neat detail is the inner cage of reinforcements through the midfoot, which adds some extra support and stability without sacrificing flexibility. Overall, the new upper is all about keeping your feet comfortable, secure, and ready to tackle whatever the trail throws at you. There are a couple of things to watch out for with the upper. While the woven material is great for durability, it's not the most breathable, so your feet might get a bit warmer on hot days. Also, some runners have mentioned that the fit feels a bit snugger compared to previous models, especially in the toe box area. So, if you've got wider feet or prefer a roomier fit, you might want to try them on first or consider sizing up. Overall though, it's a solid upper in terms of quality. The outsole on these are absolutely great. It's made with Vibram Mega Grip, which is like the gold standard for trail shoes at the moment. The lugs on the bottom are 5mm deep and come in all sorts of shapes, giving you killer grip on pretty much any terrain. Whether you're cruising over rocks, splashing through mud, or tackling steep inclines, this outsole has got your back. Plus, the Vibram material is known for its durability, so you can count on these shoes to keep you steady mile after mile. There's a little hiccup with the outsole. While it's fantastic overall, this is not something I have experienced personally with my pair. However, some users have noted that mud can get stuck in a pocket right under the heel. It's not a deal breaker, but it might add a bit of extra weight to your step and mess with your stride. So, if you're very picky and you're hitting up some seriously muddy trails, you might want to keep an eye on that. Okay, so what's the verdict? I think the Speedgoat is in fact an icon in its category for sure, especially based on its impact on trail running as a whole. However, there is a lot of great competition from other brands such as Brooks or Salomon. I really enjoyed the Speedgoat 6, and I would definitely take these out for a trial session any day of the week without any concern of feel and performance. By the way, have you heard or seen what's going on at Nike? They just launched a huge project that is sure to shape the overall future of performance footwear. You don't want to miss this, so check it out for yourself by clicking on this video right here.